a show is returning to San Antonio this summer. I'll be breaking the news first in this video. I've got two updates for you at the front of the park. There is a new sign right here at Hurricane Harbor telling you to get your gold pass for regional park access. And then over here, there is a new kiosk for the valet guys. And that looks like it was repurposed from inside the park. Before, they just had, I think, a little tent. These planters at the front also look brand new. This sign and the whole thing, I believe that was not like that last time. Flowers are beautiful, just in time for Mother's Day. You know that Buzz Lightyear meme where he's looking at Woody and he's like, look at this, everywhere. Well, there are kids everywhere. Hey, that sign looks new. It's looking great. All these flowers look good too. Now, I've gotten some questions about where Zaragoza Theater is. So when you walk into the park, just come down here and then right on your left is this big old theater right here. That is Zaragoza. That is where FT92 will be happening on May 30th. It's a Saturday at 8 p.m. I'm sure it'll be packed. Maybe I missed this last time, but it looks like this theater has been repainted. It looks great. Look at all the stuff down the walls. And over here, this green really stands out. I don't remember that last week. But first, welcome back to the Hennisphere. It is a special occasion. It is week 52 in a row from vlogging right here at Six Flags Fiesta, Texas. We did not stay stuck in life. We got out to the park every single week for the last 12 months. And I'm here to give you all the updates on what Six Flags is doing this week and maybe beyond that, and also give you some SeaWorld updates too. There were 3 press releases this week, and I'll talk about that in my Crack Axle Canyon curb chat, and there might have been a trademark filed for a certain 2027 ride. This fence is different here. I forget if this fence here was just this little one or if it was taller before, but they got this chain link one up as well. Now, I don't see anything new in here, but there was a trademark making the rounds, and I'm gonna go over that right now when I sit down right here. New sign is looking good. Ooh, but let's talk. So this week there were 3 press releases from Six Flags, and a couple other things happen in your emails. If you're a pass holder, you already know what I'm going to talk about. But first, we got to talk about breaking news coming to San Antonio, and that is a theme park has filed documents for a show returning this summer. And I'm gonna, oh, that's my phone. That's my phone. I'm recording. So documents obtained by my backup accounts show that a show is returning to a major theme park here in San Antonio this summer. And I looked for this online, couldn't find it anywhere. But the documents show a fireworks show, pyrotechnic show with flames and fireworks is coming starting this May in a couple of weeks. I believe May 22nd is the beginning of it, and it runs through August. It says something like 68 shows are gonna happen, and the name is Hydropower. And the park that filed it is SeaWorld San Antonio. So there's your breaking news. That's legit. I found these documents and can't wait for that to happen because I believe that's like a fan favorite. It's gonna be spectacular as always at the ski lake. That show is always good. Now, as far as Six Flags go, there were 3 big press releases this week. One of them regarding King's Dominion, which is a park that's been in question for a little bit now. They are getting a summer's worth of shows coming to their park. And that's really cool. I'm glad that they're making news. A lot of people are concerned about that park, but it looks like they're gonna have a terrific 2026. 2 things I would love to see there though at King's Dominion are a park president and Winterfest, because they apparently had Winterfest before, but I guess it's not returning. And speaking of that, the other press release that came out like one day after that was for Holiday in the Park returning to 2 of those key Six Flags properties, Six Flags Great Adventure in New Jersey and Six Flags Over Georgia in Georgia. So that's going to be really awesome. People are already excited about that. Six Flags is pumping investment into those events. They're reimagining them, and it's going to be really good. So I'm sure here at Fiesta, Texas, we're going to get Fright Fest and we're going to get Holiday in the Park as well. But that announcement should come on May 30th at FT92. That's usually when we find out about that kind of stuff. But we'll pay attention to the app all year long and see if they update the app before that. I don't know. Another thing to talk about, though, are the prices going up. The earnings call just happened, and you might have seen my video on it that just got posted on Friday. A lot of good metrics were there, but there were also some not so good metrics. So Six Flags is doing the right thing by increasing prices for all of their memberships. Even the legacy passes, the Diamond Elite VIP passes are going up a couple of dollars per month. And I'm really happy to see this because they need to get their revenue up. So they're doing what the CEO said that they were going to do, taking deliberate action to right the ship with the cash flow. So that's cool. And I got 2 emails. So here are screenshots of the emails. One of them was for Gold Plus passes, they called it, going up just $1 a month. And then the other email was for my Prestige Pass that says it's going up to $14 a month. And when I bought it, it was $12.99 a month. So it's $1.01. And regarding this attraction in front of me, there were some people that said, hey, this isn't going to be a family coaster last week. They said that. They said this is going to be a thrill coaster. And some people are still holding on to the idea of Intamin or Mock making the ride. So that's exciting. I really don't know what to think if it's a Mock or Intamin. But if it is a Vekoma, people have been throwing around family thrill or now just straight up thrill because they say Jeffrey Siebert said that at events here in the past. So maybe it's a Ghost Rider model. I would love that. That would be amazing to be situated up here behind Hurricane Harbor. But I want to go through the clue from last week because I mentioned that nothing really stood out to me and some people did find things that stood out to them. So let's go line by line.
There, the name's Jasper Bunyan. Reckon I beat y'all to the punch because I just snapped up a whole stretch of land outside of Crack Axle Canyon.
Snatched up a whole bunch of land outside of Crack Axle Canyon. So he's either talking about this area that was Hurricane Harbor or he's talking about an area outside of the park. I mean, both of those could be true here. And it is a whole bunch of land because we've heard 130,000 square feet and 180,000 square feet. I've talked about that area next to the parking lot being potentially used for this attraction, but we'll get to that area in a minute.
Every dusty inch of it. Now, you don't fret none. Big things are brewing. I'm building a brand new roadside attraction across from the best barbecue joint in town, Old Blues Barbecue.
Roadside attraction is very interesting because I have been talking about this area next to the parking lot for some time now, and originally when Jeffrey Siebert led me on this one-on-one tour of the site, he told me that it would go quote-unquote to the parking lot, and he never specified if that meant going in the parking lot or to the edge of the parking lot or around the parking lot. I don't know, but that area is being cleared directly alongside the parking lot. It doesn't go back all the way to the quarry wall, but there is construction happening on the other side of the road that's up there. I've shown this off 2 or 3 times, but I don't think this is actually a part of the attraction. It's just wishful thinking. This would be like a mini Falcon's Flight if this was part of the attraction, and it would fit the clue of roadside attraction if the coaster was somehow crossing over or under that road, La Cantera Boulevard.
Now, you know that kind of place that folks be hitting the brakes so hard you can smell the rubber.
You can smell the rubber. To me, this signals a launch. But what kind of launch? Is it using drive tires? Is it using magnets? Is there a certain manufacturer that this relates to? I would say it definitely sounds like a drive tire launch, which would signal something like Quantum Accelerator or Wave Breaker because those do use tires. And they've been opened in the last 10 or so years. So that's plausible, but again, that's Intamin. I feel like this is more of a Vekoma personally. And some people saw that clue with Pink Poltergeist and thought this is a premier launching roller coaster like Alpenfury. And I love that theory, but it's not high on my list of what this could be. I think that clue with Pink Poltergeist is also signaling that this is a launch. I think that was what the clue was. I don't think it was talking about the manufacturer. I just think it was talking about the launching coaster type. And beating the bricks means leaving somewhere really fast. So again, that does signal a launch.
Quarry views, oddities, and a few of my, rare collections finally seeing the daylight again. Some of them have been locked away since the old mining days. Others, they tend to wander.
He mentions quarry views here, and that takes me back to what he told me, he being Jeffrey, told me on that tour of a lot of the sight lines were going to be used properly up on this hill. The topography, he used that in my video a lot. He used that in Coaster Studios video a lot as well. He kept mentioning that the topography of the land here is going to lend itself to amazing views and sight lines of the rest of the park. So to me, this has got to be something tall. I don't know how tall. I don't know if we're talking 100 feet, 150 feet, something as tall as Iron Rattler at like 179, 180, or if this is a hypercoaster. I really don't know, but it's going to be something tall where you can see probably past Cliffhanger to the waterfalls or all the way into Rockville. And it mentions going back to the days of the quarry, like the limestone quarry history of the park. To me, that signals tunnels. Like there's going to be a lot of digging into the rock work, because people always talk about Iron Rattler. They love the interaction with the quarry wall. They love Superman Krypton Coaster because of that interaction as well. I think this coaster is going to utilize that a ton.
But anyways, have you heard the whispers of 2027? Well, let's just say the ground out here's been rumbling in ways it hasn't since the quarry shut down. Maybe it's the wind sneaking through the cracks, but maybe it ain't. Now, what I can promise is experienced folks won't forget, even if they try. And once it's ready, the only thing louder than the tall tales will be the scream. I mean, cheers.
A couple of interesting things to talk about here. It mentions going, again, back to what this used to be. This place used to be a limestone quarry. It said that things will be rumbling in ways they haven't since then. And I think of wooden coasters here. Those rumble. And then it talks about wind coming through the cracks. That's like a wooden coaster structure that sway, and the wind kind of can move them around. But I don't think that we're getting a wooden coaster. That's just what comes to mind when I hear some of those clues, so people will probably bring up Switchback. But I would also go back to the opening of the park when Rattler was there at the very beginning. I think it was Rattler and then the kiddie coaster, which, by the way, is a Vekoma. So I wonder if that's what they're saying here. Like, there was a Vekoma here on opening day when it turned from a limestone quarry into a theme park, and now we could be going back to that same manufacturer. And the other thing to note is that he mentioned screams before cutting himself off and saying cheers. If this is a thrill coaster, you're going to have screaming. So I am starting to think that this is going to be a little more high thrill than just a family coaster. Like, people say Cheetah Hunt is technically family thrill. Yeah, I could see something like Cheetah Hunt being built here. A launch that goes up somewhat of a tower or a spike and then meandering through a bunch of terrain. There's one inversion, maybe no inversions, I don't know. And then there's multiple launches. Yeah, I could see something like that. But built by Vekoma, that would generate a lot of screams but still fit the family-ish style of coaster.
Now, if you're looking to be a part of something bigger than a Texas sunset, give old Jasper a ring back. Otherwise, I'll see you when the dust settles. Until then, keep your eyes peeled. Things out here like to stare back.
Bigger than a Texas sunset. That line really stands out here. This is going to be a sprawling attraction. It'll have a huge footprint, or it's just going to be something insanely tall. And I'm excited for that. The other two things to talk about are Jasper and the eyes staring back at you. So Jasper is a character. We got a character with Dr. Diabolical's Cliffhanger, and we got a really cool queue with different interactive rooms. I'm sure we'll get something similar for this ride. And the last thing to talk about are the eyes staring back at you. I think this signals some sort of animal or mythical creature will be present during the ride. I don't know if it'll be an animatronic or posters or different sounds will be happening, but I think staring back at you is a very subtle hint at a backwards section of the ride, meaning you're going to travel, you're going to know this creature is there, and when you're traveling backwards, or if you come to a stop after traveling backwards, you'll see eyes staring back at you. I think the wording here was purposely done to hint at something that goes backwards. So those are my full thoughts. I think the animal could be a werewolf. It could be some other thing. People have mentioned a Wendigo. That would also be really cool. But I'm really excited to find out everything on May 30th. All right, so yeah, I think this is a launch. No telling what kind of elements it will have. It remains to be seen, but now, the moment you've been waiting for, the cost breakdown. Here is everything I spent to go to Disney and Universal and Six Flags last year, and some of the cost to go to SeaWorld as well. Starting off with Six Flags, I think this will be the least expensive out of all of them. We've got my Prestige Pass and Dining Plan memberships here, so you can see that it's $12.99 a month for each of those, and then there were $50 of initiation fees. If we continue on, you can see some of the one-time expenses here for Six Flags, which I'm not going to add into this basic cost right now, but just to get you in the park and get you one meal every single week for a full calendar year, no blackout dates, free parking. Transportation is going to be negligible here because I don't actually pay for transportation to get to Fiesta, Texas. It comes out to about $400 per year. That's it. If you want extras and stuff like access to the haunted houses or a drink plan, some merchandise or some pictures from rides, you're going to be looking closer to $550 or more. But still, that's really not that much. We also need to touch on the other Six Flags park in Texas that I went to this year, and that is Six Flags Over Texas. I went up there 3 separate times. Now, transportation for that is going to be the most expensive thing. I had to buy 3 round-trip airline tickets and stay in a hotel all 3 times I went up there. I bought some Tormenta merchandise and then had to take Ubers between the airports and the theme park and between the airports and hotels and whatnot. So total, just for Over Texas, I spent $2,262.64. So a lot more there. Let's move on to SeaWorld. This is a little different because I did have to pay for a lot of transportation there, and I'm just going to have to approximate it. But you can see that a Platinum Pass there for the whole year, which gets you the free park and has no blackout dates, is $225 per year. And you can see some of the expenses I had in here that include lockers and some meals. I didn't buy very many. I didn't eat there once a week like I did at Fiesta, Texas. I kind of avoided eating at SeaWorld because they did not have a dining plan that is the same as Six Flags. They have a daily dining plan, but it's like $50 a day. So when I look at everything I spent at SeaWorld San Antonio, I'm going to estimate my total expenses this past 12 months to be $1,879.63. Now let's move on to my biggest trip of the year, which was Universal Studios Orlando plus SeaWorld Orlando and Busch Gardens Tampa with Halloween Horror Nights in the middle. That was booked through my travel agent. SJ dropped the location. You can look her up on Instagram and TikTok because she's more active on there. But that was 5 days, 4 nights on Universal property. Booked the airfare on Frontier Airlines and it was pretty cheap. And then I also got a express pass at Universal Studios for one of the days. I got quick queue at both of the United parks. So when you look at that total, it was $3,074.87. And that is only because there were single day tickets being offered for Epic Universe and I really wanted to go there. So I decided to buy one last minute. I only had half a day that I could be there. Things did not go as planned and I ended up missing my flight to come home. So that's why there's another charge from Southwest Airlines for an additional flight. But don't worry, I did get credits back on the Frontier flight that I missed. And that's why that trip was so expensive. I went to Disneyland for 2 days, Knott's Berry Farm 2 days, and Six Flags Magic Mountain for 2 days. And this trip was a little interesting because I did not have to pay for the Disneyland tickets or my hotel stay there. But I did have to pay for the Ubers from Anaheim up to Magic Mountain and back to Anaheim, as well as 2 nights of hotel stays at Magic Mountain and 2 nights of hotel stays at Knott's Berry Farm. And I bought a lot of stuff at Knott's Berry Farm. So all of those things added up for a total of $1,683.49. And that's really not that bad. Again, I got lucky that time around by not having to pay for everything. It was different there because at Knott's Berry Farm, my dining plan for Six Flags did not work there. It was not taking effect until 2026. And I also bought a Flash Pass at Magic Mountain. So there were some additional costs there that I wouldn't normally have at either of the Texas parks. So for the year total, adding up all of my trips to all theme parks, I got $9,491.53. So that's a lot, but I had a lot of fun. It was really good. I hope I get to more parks in 2026. So now let's look at how much it would cost to do this 52-week streak at SeaWorld San Antonio, Universal Studios Orlando, or Disneyland. When I look at SeaWorld San Antonio, a Platinum Pass is $225 after taxes if you pay it all up front, and their chicken tendies are a little expensive, honestly. When you multiply the cost of those by 52, if you want one meal per visit, it doesn't make sense to have their all-day dining. That's $50-something. So you have to pay for the chicken tendies each time. I get a total yearly cost of $1,246.80, significantly higher than Six Flags. Now let's look at Universal Orlando. Again, travel, negligible. We're just assuming the same costs as the Six Flags streak to be the case here. So they have a bunch of different passes. The one I'm looking at is the preferred annual pass because that has no blackout dates and free parking. So when you add that to buying their chicken thumbs 52 times, their price of chicken tendies is not that bad. It comes out to $1,369.96. That's really not bad at all. That is pretty good, actually, because you're getting 2 parks with that, and it's only a little bit more than SeaWorld. Now let's look at Disneyland. I feel like this will be the most expensive. They have what they call keys, and they have 5 different tiers of these annual keys that get you in the park. But you have to be careful because a lot of them have blackout dates in the summer or at the end of the year, and you can't have this streak if you're going to buy one of those that doesn't get you the blackout dates. So you could either buy one of those passes and then buy single day tickets to get you in those days, or you can just buy the top tier pass that's going to get you the discounts on food and the parking, and it will barely get you the full streak because the last week of the year, I believe you can visit on like Saturday, and then the following week you can visit on January 1st, New Year's Day 2027, and just barely complete the streak. But that pass is $1,800. So when you add that to the cost of their chicken tendies, which aren't that bad, they're cheap like Universal, there's no dining plan, so you got to multiply that cost by 52, you get a total of $2,600.48. So much more expensive to do this kind of streak at Disneyland if you're eating in the park and going every single week. And SeaWorld San Antonio, Universal Orlando, very similar in price and structure, but nothing beats Six Flags. Hope you enjoyed that little breakdown. So no surprise, Six Flags was the most inexpensive, while Disney and Universal are way more expensive. And as we see over time, Disney and Universal keep upping the price on their passes and tickets. It's like more than $200 a day just to go there, and there's no dining plan, which is insane. But here at Six Flags, you know, one thing that could change in the future is an adjustment to those offerings like the dining plan or the drink plan. Maybe the price of that goes up. I could see that happening, and it's for the best. I will leave you all with that for the day and see you again for a chat like this during week 53 in a row. Back here behind what was the Conjuring House, and it might still be. I don't know. I don't notice anything new. There's just some equipment right over here and a shed. All right, time to dig into some chopsticks. And in front of me is a ride that's under refurbishment, Daredevil Dive. I didn't get any sweet and sour sauce this time, just a good old orange chicken. Well, chopsticks was delicious, but there's only 15 minutes left. I still gotta get to Bubba's and some other places. Here's your Bubba's update. It looks totally different. They have finished painting. As I get cut off by Miss Kitty. They finished painting under here, and they've also done the top side, it looks like. That's new paint. And the signs are all gone, so we'll wait to see if this gets a new name. Hard to see inside of there. I really can't make anything out. It's so dark and there's a glare. But it's looking good, nice and clean. And if you look carefully on that Werewolf Gorge trademark filing, it does mention things like keychains, so maybe merchandise with that. Remember, there is a shirt at Dr. Diabolical's Cliffhanger with a Bigfoot on it, and it looks a little out of place, but it's been there for over a month. Okay, I could be totally wrong, but these lamps here on the corners of the walkway, I don't recall those being here. They probably were, but they got a little flame or a little light in there that looks great. Hey, what's up, Batman?
You look like you drink white Gatorade and smell like nickels.
What? No. Hey, this is why all your movies are flops now. I do love watching basketball. I'm rocking the Spurs shirt today because I went to game 2 and they handled business by 47 points. It was insane. Here's a little clip of that. It was so loud in there. I hope everyone's enjoying this run that the Spurs are on. And go Spurs, go. Well, 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 what do we have here? Back and better than ever, the dancing trays at Sangerfest Hall. Purchase necessary, only valid at your home park. Just checking on anything back here at the old Nosferatu house, but no updates. They have this stump over here, and they purposely carved a little smiley face in it. I'm sad the tree is gone, but he's having a good day. Stumpy's all happy. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this 1-year anniversary of vlogging from Six Flags Fiesta, Texas, and I'm gonna keep the streak alive. Eventually get up to Tormenta, don't worry, it's eventually going to open. But in 3 weeks' time, we'll be in here at Zaragoza Theater. I'm sure I'll see a lot of you. And if you're not there, I will see you at Roller Coaster Rodeo if you end up being there, because I bought my ticket this week and I'll be doing some of the lift walks. So can't wait for that. That's gonna be exciting. That's June 5th through June 7th. And hopefully the Spurs take care of business tonight and then eliminate the Timberwolves going into next week. But if you learned nothing in today's video, just remember these 3 things. No good deed goes unpunished. Subscribe to me on YouTube. And when you're feeling stuck in life, like our friends at B&M always say, push down, pull up. That was another day in the Hennisphere.